DEI efforts are critical to the US economy because there's not enough white men, John Hope Bryant says. Isn't it funny how for a long time the replacement theory was just a far-right white supremacist conspiracy theory? But now that our country has been flooded with masses from the third world, they can say, well, there's just not enough white men anymore to be able to support the economy. So DEI it's now critical. What about that white supremacist conspiracy theory? Oh, don't pay attention to that. It didn't happen. As backlash to corporate DEI efforts reaches a fever pitch, one advocate says its success is critical to the U.S. economy because the math for the country's long-term prosperity doesn't add up without it. There's not enough white men, John Hope Bryant, founder and CEO of Operation Hope, a nonprofit that provides financial literacy training, said Tuesday at Fortune's Global Forum. Mathematically, there's not enough college-educated, successful white men to drive GDP for 30 years. Well, whose fucking fault is that? When you lowered standards and made it easier for people to get in when they didn't qualify for colleges. How we had so many articles saying that black women are the most educated class in America currently. Most educated is the key word there because it's not most intelligent. It's based on how many degrees those people have, which when you're given tons of grants and your DEI ushered in above other people who are qualified, of course you're going to be able to spend more frivolously on degrees, because it's not your fucking money. Colleges aren't taking them. In order for the US to continue growing and remain the world's top economy, it can't afford to cut off women and minority communities from wealth gains. What the fuck do they mean by this? No one is preventing women and minorities from doing things. That reality was overshadowed by the politicization of the term DEI, according to Bryant. DEI became weaponized, Bryant said. It became political. It became emotional. I like math and inclusive economics, which is my approach. It's just neutral. Bryant said the math forced him to reckon with the issue of how the U.S. economy could maintain its current global dominance without ensuring the participation of all its citizens. He pointed to the fact that consumer spending accounts for 70% of the U.S. economy. As the demographics of the country shift, so does the makeup of who those consumers are. That 70% is going to look different. But I thought the demographics weren't changing. I thought that was a conspiracy theory. I thought we were all crazy for noticing. What do you mean there's a demographic shift? A report from the U.S. Census Bureau estimates the country will become majority-minority, meaning that white Americans will no longer outnumber all other minority groups combined by 2044. Considering that Caucasians were already a global minority, are we going to be able to actually talk about that again? Are we going to actually be able to say how much it didn't matter that Europeans were a majority in their own countries that they built themselves? Is that something that we'll finally be able to say? Like, it's a pipe dream. Even now, minority groups have immense purchasing power that is critical to the economy. Black consumers are expected to wield $1.7 trillion in spending power by 2030. According to McKinsey. Fucking McKinsey! Meanwhile, Hispanic consumers accounted for $3.2 trillion in economic output in 2021, according to a study from the Latino Donor Collaborative. Bringing those groups onto a level playing field with white Americans who control 80% of the wealth in the U.S., despite accounting for 65% of the households, was imperative. If you have a country that is majority white, right, the citizens are majority white, they are obviously going to control the majority of the wealth. If you flood this majority white country with hordes from the third world that don't have any assets, don't have any income, don't have any skills to be able to amass these things, well, no fucking shit! They're not going to be in control of the wealth. Like, what are they saying here? Impossible. How can that be true? Oh my god, Kick went down? Is Kick down? It's also back up on here. We had a good run. Is Kick okay? Did you guys get slapped? Are you slapped over there? Optics over actual impact. Always has been. Right? Like, no shit, that wasn't gonna happen. They were just like, okay, look, here's the plan. We flood the country with third world migrants. We tell people who notice that we're doing it that they're crazy white supremacist Nazis. Once we have enough of these third world masses in the country, we just start giving them all this free shit. Free healthcare, free education, free housing. We're gonna give them grants to be able to start businesses. We just give them everything. And what's the goal here? What is the end goal with this? The migrant horde. Financial literacy is the civil rights issue of this generation, he said. No, I would say border crisis is a bit more pertinent, honestly. The gender wealth gap that doesn't exist also poses a vital opportunity for the future of US women controlling 10.9 trillion in assets. A change that was only made possible, Bryant points out, because of changing financial laws in the 1970s when the Equal Credit Opportunity Act allowed women to have their own credit cards and outlawed discriminating against credit applicants on the basis of sex. If women previously weren't allowed to have their own credit cards, and women previously and also currently make up the majority of consumers and the majority of spenders in our economy, would it also not be a stretch to say, right, and this is just me thinking, I'm not saying this is true, wouldn't it also be fair to say that women probably also hold the largest amount of consumer credit card debt in that case? Which means that allowing women access to their own credit cards without giving them financial literacy back in the day caused a rapid cycle of people who don't know how to actually use credit cards, and thus are now beholden to credit companies and the government to pay off their debts. Play the Aussie clip where he says giving women credit cards was a mistake. What the fuck? Statistically and globally, whites are willing to work their living and work hard, which is why places in Africa, for example, are wealthier the more white the residents are. I don't know anything about the African per capita situations. That is not my forte. Shut it down, she knows. Oh my god. If we had let our small-mindedness overtake us, we'd be a third-rate nation today. Well, we are a third-rate nation, unfortunately, Mr. Bryant. Unfortunately. A lot of things that feminism pushed through in the 1970s caused irreparable damage. Not just to the economy, but to, like, relationships between the sexes in general. I don't know how we go about fixing this kind of shit, man, but like it's gotten wildly out of control. They use that word a lot. Small-minded. How many degrees of separation are you from the globe's most powerful business leaders? Wait, what? Oh, that's the end of the article. That ended really fucking abruptly. What the fuck? What? That was abrupt end to the article. I was in there. I wanted to read more, man. As Seth said, it's universal suffering. It really is. I also think it's rich, right? That some black guy is like, there's just not enough white men. We need to give more money to minorities and women because the white men just can't make the economy anymore. Should do like the Vikings where rap was considered a property crime. Oh my god. How's my arm? Fucking terrible, man. Fucking terrible. Self-woman hater Kirsche. Just because I have a grasp on how to properly handle a credit card doesn't mean I am brain damaged enough to think that because I can, literally everyone else is able to. When I was hanging out with Peeba, we were listening to like financial podcast. I can't remember the guy's name, but like the people that went on that podcast were so strikingly fucking dumb. Like it was insane to listen to. I need to ask her the name of that podcast again so I can listen to it in my spare time. Cause it was just like, how do you even be so dumb? Like these people would be bringing in like $4,000, $5,000, $6,000 a month, but managing to spend like $10,000 a month. I was like, how? I can't even spend $10,000 in like half a year. How do you do that? How do you live so far above your fucking means? Caleb Hammer? Oh, is that the guy? He sounds exactly like fucking Dear Feeder, but instead of having like archiving autism, he got the numbers autism. Like I can't hear his voice without thinking of Kirsche. Has to be Caleb Hammer? Has to be, dude. It's so good. Smuggalana watches it too. It's so fucking good. They're so fucking dumb. Not Caleb, he's good. The people he brings on are fucking dumb. 10,000 made you last a solid year and buy a car. Okay, I can't do that in the US, but you know, holy shit, you feel better about yourself now. I'll have to do something with that in the future. His show is called Financial Audit. Thank you. It's so good. It is actually just mind-boggling. Show is hard to watch because of the guests. Rip Caleb's blood pressure. The angrier he gets, the more like Jersey sounds. Where's my email? So I have a ton of bridge